Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Ryan. This is Fine Detailing. Thank you so much for joining. If this is your first time joining, please consider liking the video, giving me a big subscribe. I would really appreciate it. If this is your first time joining, I primarily focus on detailing products, detailing reviews, but kind of in this world, I get a lot of calls from customers asking, hey, do I do rock chip repair or paint repair on the vehicles? So I wanted to take this opportunity, show you on my test hood, not my actual car. If I find one, I can try to show you a real life scenario, but I have a test hood here. I took a knife and scratched it, and it was just hard to do, but I went through the clear coat, so I'll overlay that on the screen for you so you can see it. But basically, a scratch is deep and it's pretty much beyond kind of repair in terms of buffing, right? Because what we do is we can usually buff out scratches as detailers or home hobbyists. You know, we can use random orbitals, we can use polishing machines, right? We go in there and those can remove fairly significant deep scratches, but sometimes when it is too deep, right? So usually I tell people, if you can catch the scratch on your fingernail, right? If you can catch a scratch on your fingernail, it's through the clear, it's through all the paint, it's toast, right? So there's a few methods to do this. You don't have to just go get your car totally resprayed. Most dealerships, and then a ton of online websites, you know, Dr. Color Chip is one that comes to mind, but there are so many out there. You can put in your VIN number on your car, and then they'll match up the exact factory paint that you need. Some of them come in two-part systems. So one will be like a base layer, and then it'll come with a second pen or touch-up, which is the clear coat. Some come an all-in-one. And then you can get those either, again, from your dealership, they'll ship them to you, or you can go pick them up at your dealership. And then basically you go in, you know, and you go into the crack or to the cut, right? And this one is more so like a nail polish, right? So you have that. And then you'd go in and touch up and let it dry. And most of you are fine with that, and you've seen what's left, and you kind of have these raised areas that are, you can tell it's been touched up. It looks better, but it doesn't look great. So in this video, I want to show you how to kind of perfect those touch-up marks, right? How we can take it to that little step extra, as opposed to you having to go out and pay all this money for a professional to do it, or have someone come to your house and do it. Again, if you have a few here and there, and you want a fun project to try and accomplish, it takes a few different tools to get the job done right. So I want to take you through those today. So what are we going to use today, right? How are we going to go through the process, right? So I'll take you through this as an example, and I'll get you some close-ups as we go. But typically the process is you want to prep the car first, you want to prep the paint anytime we're going to polish. So I won't show you in this video, but you know, normally you want to wash the car, use bucket soap, right? Just make sure the car is very clean. In theory, you'd want to fully decontaminate it, right? And if there's any iron buildup, you can use an iron remover. You can use a clay bar or a clay mitt, something like that, just to make sure the surface is as pure and prepped as possible. So once you have all that done, assuming you have a garage, you know, pull it inside, pull it in your garage, and then that's when you're going to get to work here. So I'll take you through all the tools and products you're going to need to get this done, and then we'll actually get into the demo. So first and foremost, you're going to need the touch-up paint. You're going to need whatever color paint matches your vehicle's car. So again, call the dealership, go online, put in your VIN number, and you'll be able to figure out kind of exactly what touch-up you need here. So this is I got as close as I could. I don't know if this is an exact match, but for our purposes, I'm going to show you. This is a 2008 Audi A4 hood, so I guessed on the color, so I didn't have the VIN number either. So I have the touch-up paint here. You will need a buffer of some sort, a polisher of some sort. In theory, you could do this by hand. It's gonna take you quite a while if you do it by hand, but in theory, you totally could do it by hand. You get a microfiber towel, and then, you know, kind of put some compound on your finger on the towel, and you can rub it over the top. You can get polishers and buffers. You don't need the high-end brands or whatever. You can go to Harbor Freight, you can get a Porter Cable, you can go to Griot's Garage, you can go to AutoZone, go on Amazon. You can find a buffer for 30, 40, 50, 60 bucks, right? You don't have to go crazy. So this happens to be a 3-inch, so we're gonna use this just because it's a little bit smaller. But again, most buffers or polishers that you see on the market will be like a 5 or 6-inch machine, something like this. Most will be corded. This just happens to be a battery version. In a perfect world, you would have what's called a paint depth gauge. Now you can find some on Amazon that are 30 to 50 bucks. This is a really, really great option. This is Next Diag. This is their premium paint gauge, but this thing's awesome, and it pairs with an app on your phone, and so you can come on here and you can test the depth of your paint just to make sure you're not going too deep on it. So I would always recommend that. Now, these tools will never tell you the depth, because right, we have base layer of the paint, you have the body, you have the base layer, and then you have the clear coat. So we don't know how thick each layer is, right? And we're talking like thin as human hairs, microns. So this just gives you a general guideline, an industry standard, at least in the US, using microns, or I'm sorry, using mils. Roughly, we say like if it's under three mils, you got to be very careful, or maybe don't even touch it, right? That's kind of the benchmark to start to pay attention and say, okay, hey, like, you know, I don't know if I should go really hard on this paint. So you would need that tool. Next up, you will need, you know, to do this correctly, you're going to need some sanding discs, and you can do either wet sanding or dry sanding. There's a few different methods. So in today's video, we're gonna feature, these are CarPro sanding discs, right? And they just released these. They're silicone carbide discs. They can be used wet or dry. You can use them on a machine, or you can use them by hand. They have 1500 grit, and they have 2000 grit, and then 3000 grit. We're gonna see, always start, whenever you guys are doing this, by the way, always start with the least aggressive method and then work your way up to more aggressive, because you might not need it, you might not have to go that hard. But this is, I've used this one already. So this is the sanding disc, what it looks like, just very, very light sandpaper. You see it's identified by the 3000 on the back. And then this is something called Rid Sticks. This is just like a sanding block. This comes from KXK Dynamics. There's a few different ones that you can look for, but they basically both look like this, right? There's a really hard one here, and there's a really soft one here. Typically, you want to favor the soft one. The hard ones can be for the softer ones you want to use for factory clear coat. The hard ones you want to use for, you know, aftermarket, when you have a car that's sprayed, freshly sprayed, a show car, whatever. It's got a ton of paint to work with. You want to go with the softer ones. And quick disclosure, guys, shout out to Sky's the Limit Car Care. They sent me these sanding blocks, and they also sent me these sanding discs from CarPro. So you can get, I'll link to all of these in the description below, but they did send me these for free. So I do want to feature these and show you how they work. I actually requested them because they're such cool products. So thank you to Sky's the Limit Car Care. After we've polished, or I'm sorry, after we've sanded, right, we're gonna need to polish and refine this, because you're gonna see me go on here and it's gonna be like a white haze, right? So next you're gonna need some sort of polishing pad, right? Whatever, you know, you wanna have something a little more aggressive, and then you can work down. And then you're also gonna wanna have some sort of like polish, right? You actually need polish. So again, you can buy stuff at Griots, or you can buy stuff at AutoZone, O'Reilly. You want typically, usually like a heavy and a medium cut compound, so you can kind of work down. If you've ever done any sort of sanding, you understand you kind of start heavier and then you refine it down, you step down in terms of like the grit and the aggressiveness. So like I just happen to have, like I have Kosh Chemie Heavy Cut here, which is a heavy compound. I have the Last Cut compound, which is, it's pretty versatile and pad dependent. I also have PNS Rehab Correction Cream. So again, these are all dependent on kind of the pads that you use. Another helpful tool to have would be some sort of light. This is the Next LED. This is their coating light, but I just took off the cover, and so you can use this and then really get in there and see kind of fine defects, right? And I'll pull you in closer so you can see that. So those are all the tools. I know it kind of seems like a lot, but again, if you get everything as a kit, right, you'll hold on to it, and you can make repairs like this in the future. And if you want to get deeper into car detailing, or you do get a scratch, or you do have scratches all over your car, then you can take what you learned and you can kind of buff the entire car. And then you could have, you know, a backup pack of sanding discs. It comes with 10 of these, which for the home hobbyist, you'll have these forever. And you can keep these on deck and just know how to use it in the future. You don't have to buy the full 1500, 2000, 3000 grit. You don't have to buy all that. I think most of you can get away with the 3000 grit. So you can kind of feel it with your nail. So while it's still raised like this, I like to fill it, and then we'll come back and sand. So obviously the least amount you can get in terms of like overage would be better. But we want to fill it. And now this might take a few layers, but that's okay. Okay guys, so I'll show you what it looks like. When it dries. Right. So from further back, you see it kind of right there. Again, this might not be a perfect match paint. Just hoping to flatten it a little bit. I'm using no pressure. So we just want it to be as level as possible. Right, because that's what we can, how we can tell there's touch up, right? Because it's raised. So if we can make it as flat as possible without going too aggressive, that's the goal. Short strokes with this. Now, I could lose patience and go to a 2000, but if you just go at it slow and steady, you're gonna get there. So this is for a good example. Most compounds, if they're decent, they'll tell you what in theory they can cut. So this says this can remove up to 1200 grain sandpaper. I only use 3000 here, so let's see how it does. Okay. So pretty good, but I didn't get after it enough, so it's still a little raised. So there it is. So it's definitely still raised. So that means I need to chase it more with the sanding and get it flatter. Okay, so I have stepped it up to 2000 grit. Short strokes, don't take off more than you need to. And if you start to see you get buildup, just wipe it off. Better, getting flatter, that's good. There's some raised spots here. Let's see if we can make it perfect. Pretty dang good there. Pretty good. So that's much better. You can see the outline. Hopefully we can refine some of this in polishing. So kind of just outside the range here where we didn't polish is at 4.84, okay? We're gonna go dead center where we polished. 5.52, 4.76 towards the top, go towards the bottom here, 5.6, 4.64. So we have room to play. I'm not nervous about anything there. It's good to go. So let's get some heavy cut on here now and see if we can refine this. Okay. So better. It's a little flatter. Now, I think I have the wrong spec paint, right? Because I didn't really know what VIN number it was. I just did it kind of based on year and model. But the refinement looks pretty good, I think. So you can kind of see it in the right light, but it's getting pretty good. Right, for example, there's one that I was playing with off camera, much more raised, and then that's where we're at. All right, guys, we are refined down, we're cut down, so now we just need to refine. So you can take a finishing polish, you can take a medium step polish. I like this one. This is one of my favorite finishing polishes. This is Car Pro Reflect. Cut is 3, gloss is 10, so you are gonna get a little bit of cut out of this. So I'm gonna use a finishing pad, so we'll see a desired finish. You can change your pad and keep the same compound, or polish, I should say. This stuff wipes off so easy. There we go. So we'll take you in for your end result here. All right, guys, so here's your final look. I took off, I probably have to go back and touch up. There's a little paint I took off there. I went a little too deep. But overall, that's what we're looking at, right? Like, let me step back a little bit. So you can kind of see it. This is dented and, you know, it's a junkyard hood, right? But that's where it is. Versus what most of you would be doing, right? You just put it on the top and walk away. So you have that, and that's acceptable to a lot of people. Or you can refine it and get it down to that, which is much harder to see, right? You know it's there because we know it's there, but you know, 3 feet back, it starts to disappear, right? Again, it's here. We know we know where it is, but it's hard to see now, right? Whereas you can see that clear as day 3 feet back, right? Guys, I hope that was helpful for you. It's not a perfect job. I took off a little extra here, so what I would normally do is go back and I would layer this again and then sand it again and go through it. So overall, I hope that process was helpful for you, at least, so you could understand how to go from, you know, what we just showed you up here, kind of that layered nail polish look, to at least a flatter, more refined surface. Now, I like to go in straight when it is the initial gap. I've seen some people sand first and then touch up. I like the raised gap because then you can fill in the paint in the gap, in like the crevice, and then that'll dry in the crevice, and then you're taking down the paint around it, and then as soon as you go flat, you stop, right? So you're not gonna take out that touch-up paint that you just put in. Overall, I took a knife to this, right? So that's really aggressive. So in real life, you might not have something that aggressive, but overall, I'm much happier with the finish here as I am here. Now, it'll never be perfect. I mean, it could, right? If you spend hours and hours refining and touching and going through, you might be able to get it perfect, but just getting it to that extra, you know, compared to this, I would say this is 60% better than it was, but this one that we just worked on, I'd take that to 85, 90, right? It's pretty darn good, and it'd be hard pressed if I said, okay, someone, you know, find that scratch on this hood who wasn't watching this video. It'd be pretty hard pressed for them to find it. So I hope that was valuable for you. If you like content like this, like and subscribe to the channel. We'll continue to bring you cool updates, cool new products. And again, I will link all the products in the description below. Everything that we used here, well, mostly everything that we used here, you can find at Sky's the Limit Car Care. FD10 will save you 10% off, save you a little bit of cash. But I think everyone should have some of these in their arsenal. They're not very expensive at all. You make an investment, especially for a home hobbyist. You'll keep these on you'll keep these on hand probably for the rest of your life. Let's be honest, you'll have them for a long time. So with that, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye, everyone.